Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video. Okay, let's take a look what has happened on euro currency on the previous week, and let's try to understand what we could do at the beginning of the next week. Well, in general, you can see that price behavior within the previous week. We could say that it has happened according to our expectations in our analysis, since on the previous week we have got the clear pattern on the weekly time frame. That was the bearish step grabber, and additional confidence has come from the fact that this pattern has appeared right at the top of the right shoulder of the head and shoulders pattern on the weekly time frame. So in fact, that is the right shoulder on the weekly time frame. And you can see the price action that in fact stands market significant move down, couple of more bars, and that could be the nice context for the Napoli directional pattern. But currently, in fact, daily time frame is not very informative for us, because we do not see anything except this nice move to the downside. All that we could see is that market has penetrated our support level. That is weekly, was the weekly pivot support one. Here is monthly pivot support one. That is the 1618 extension of that ABCD pattern. That is also 127 extension of that swing. So if we will treat this as the butterfly, 127 extension of this butterfly stands also in this area. Also, you can see that market almost has touched the oversold level. I just want to tell that this line is the 100% oversold, but usually on the market is acceptable to use 75, 85, 90% of oversold. So if I will apply slightly lower measure of oversold, then we'll see that market has touched it. And in fact, on the daily time frame, we do not see any patterns or something that could let us to understand what could happen. But I'll tell you that there are some chances for upward bounce still exist, because we could see it on the intraday charts. For example, on the 4-hour time frame, what we see? We see this falling wedge pattern, that is in fact bullish pattern. We see that this pattern is accompanied by the bullish divergence with the MACD indicator. That in fact the final swing inside of this wedge pattern. So if this pattern will work, it probably will trigger retracement up, and the minor target of this retracement will be this top. But if we will take into consideration a couple of facts, that we know that euro currency likes the 50% levels, and usually when the market stands in the retracement, the pivot resistance one usually holds this retracement. So since we see that market on the daily time frame stands in the bearish trend, we could count that market could show the bounce right to the weekly pivot resistance one, that on the current week will coincide with the 50% resistance. So that's an area around 129.70 level, and that, by the way, stands slightly higher than this top. Okay, so small minor bounce is probable, but for that we need to see that this pattern really starts to work. I mean the bearish wedge. The hourly time frame in general confirms this pattern, because on the hourly time frame we could see the butterfly buy that stands in the final stage of the wedge. That's very typical for the development of the wedges. You can see market has hit 1618 extension of this butterfly and shows some bounce. So it's interesting that if we will measure the ultimate target of the butterfly, and you know that this is the extension of the whole butterfly swing, so if we will take extension from that high to that low, count it to the upside, and we get 127 extension of that swing, stands also very close to the 129.70 area. That's daily 50%. That is weekly pivot resistance 1. So in fact, currently we have to do just the one thing to be sure that these patterns will work. If market will erase them and continue move lower, will break this bullish wedge to the downside, then probably we just start to think about the reaching of that low, because in fact in this area there's nothing of support here. And here, by the way, market stands at the neckline of the weekly head and shoulders pattern. And in fact, market has rather tight choice: either react on this neckline and continue move and show some small bounce. I can't exclude that on the weekly time frame it could show like the just long upper shadow of the weekly candle. This could be market retracement in the couple of sessions to the upside and then turn to the downside and continue move lower. That's very probable. Or, since that is the final edge, final, you could say, support for bulls, if market will break it, then we could see really significant acceleration to the downside. That's what really could happen. And all this context, in fact, based on these patterns, wedge and butterfly. So if market will start to react on these patterns, move above the weekly pivot point, then that will be a significant confirmation that probably market will reach these areas around 129.70. If market will just flirting a bit and shows the small bounce of this butterfly and will accelerate down, that will tell us that how weak market really is, because it will raise all reversal patterns. It will show the breakout of the significant support without any respect, and that in fact will open the road right to the downside. So the targets that we have below the current market, you could take from the weekly analysis, since in the weekly time frame analysis and the monthly time frame analysis we have specified the targets that we could see in the medium term and the long term perspective if market will continue to move down. In fact, guys, I think that overall current development could be really the triggering point of the long term bear trend, because that's really could happen. Since the behavior of the market, how it responds to these bearish patterns, how it really moves to the downside, is fast moving, really could be the triggering pattern. The one thing that could be slowed and postponed a bit is the summertime, because that's the vacation period, and markets could be thin and lazy within this period. But in general, overall direction now and how market behaves on the monthly time frame, it really could lead to the downward continuation in the medium term perspective and reaching the significant levels below the current market. In fact, if market will hold below these levels and continue to move lower, the next destination point will be the yearly pivot support point that stands around 123, 123.50 area. So that's really could be a significant move. But let's on Monday be focused on particular these levels and intraday patterns, since they could give us the context, the character of the market for short-term perspective for the beginning of the next week.